welcome to the B Team Podcast. I am your host, Josh Safran, with my co-host,
Matt Mars,
and our permanent guest,
Rob Nelson.
We're here every week to talk to you about all things Bentonville, bourbon, and business. The B Team Podcast. Be here. Welcome to the B Team Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Safran, along with our permanent guest,
Rob Nelson,
and our co-host,
Matt Mars.
I threw it in first to see if I could throw him off.
I saw that.
He was on his game.
I was sitting there, I was waiting, I was ready to speak, and then you threw it a different way.
And he did good.
Yeah,
I was
he was
not
ready.
expecting that.
He wasn't even on his phone. Like, he was listening and engaging. It was crazy.
Guys.
Like, it's the new Rob over there.
I mean, we're on a podcast
see
with a
this?
guest. These guys are here all about their business, and to pull out your phone in the middle and be like,
I'm just going to sit here and have my cocktail. Because you guys are being a bunch of cocks.
well, we are here every Thursday for all things Bentonville business and bourbon, and today we got Bumble Bee, more bees in our name today. But my good friend, Mr. Kyle Williams.
Thanks for having me. Well, appreciate it, guys. Yeah.
So first off, I know you a long time. You've been in the CPG supplier community. You've done a lot of things. You just decided with your wife 12 months ago, that you wanted to become a small business owner and start your own thing.
Yeah. Certainly, maybe not as abrupt as you're suggesting. But had as you mentioned, I've been in consumer product sales my entire career. Love it. It's a ton of fun. Had an opportunity, as Josh and I were talking off camera for a second. Like we worked together for a few years, and it was great.
Greatest boss you ever had, Matt? Don't know the answer to that.
I would.
He said that he was your boss. He said that.
Yes.
I said he said he worked with me. I think it's better to say he said I worked with him. I would say he worked with me.
For you. Yeah. Okay. Now that we got that.
Some days.
Yeah.
Independent, yeah. But from a pretty early age, I started in this business in New Jersey in a distribution center in North New Jersey for Coca-Cola, packing out shelves, taking
shout
orders. Shout out to Coke.
Rob,
right?
Rob did that too.
There it is. I mean,
You were at RC.
Okay, yeah.
I had to fight.
Yeah.
You guys had all the budget money. I had to go in there, build relationships and bang.
It was nice to have a little checkbook. That is true. But it's easy. It's tough work.
That's a grind.
So I did that, for the first 5-6 years of my career.
Yeah.
And really early on, I realized, I was like, this kind of sucks.
This
is not that big. Yeah, I was like, the glamour wears off fast. It's a great gig. And actually pretty early into that, I was interested in becoming an entrepreneur. And I ended up going without any information, no research, went very deep and actually got a franchise offer from a golf franchise, who hilariously is in town now, called Golf Tech. And Josh knows this. I'm a big golfer. My wife's a big tennis player. And the unfortunate part was I had absolutely no capital, and I had no reasonable plan to raise any capital. And it was a pretty steep cost. So it was a great learning experience, but at 25, I had to pass. So you kind of fast forward, 25, now 40. I decided to take a little career break and really think about, hey, what do I want the next kind of 15 years? After my first 15 years in the industry look like? And that very much involves some degree of entrepreneurship, and that's kind of where franchising came in. But definitely an interest for quite a while. Just like many didn't pull the trigger, but now we have.
So Kyle's calling me, and he said, "Hey, you own a franchise," and walked me through it. He's talking about the blinds business. Now, this is not in my wheelhouse.
No.
And you guys are both in the home building, and so Kyle's telling me there hasn't been innovation in this space for a long period of time, and I love your guys' lens on the blinds process as you guys are home building, because he's got some really cool stuff he was sharing with me about the industry he's in now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is when you guys kind of
I think the hardest thing for me looking from what I've dealt with is most of us builders need it quickly.
Yep.
Which I know is sometimes hard when you get the more intricate powered blinds and all that. So a lot of us settle for the standard 2-inch that they can bring out in 4 days. But I think I think everyone wants the other. It's just sometimes there's so many things happening when you're building a new house that a lot of times no one looks ahead to be like, hey, I need blinds, and it's a big deal.
So it's an afterthought.
Well, because more people redo them later, and that's
Yeah.
So to say basically, to put on top of what Matt's saying, or I would say as a builder, we got two avenues. ranges, right? We have our spec homes where typically we don't put blinds on because we know they're going to ask for them when they put the offer in.
Right.
And then we just do the basic blind package.
Basic full.
But then we have the custom houses that Matt and I do, which those are a little bit more planned out, and they don't want those standard blinds. That's where I think
Shutter.
Yeah. Again, I have no idea about your business yet, and we're going to learn about it, which is kind of cool. And I think that like coming from a builder, right? That those are the two things.
Yeah, and I would add, for you guys, and tell me I'm wrong, but it's really important because I built a custom house with my wife, which is an amazing blessing. We did that actually in Shadow Valley over 3 years during COVID, which I wouldn't suggest, but we did it, and it's great. But going through that process, I began to understand your subcontractors are truly an extension of you, right? They represent you. So while having a great offer and a great price, of course, matters, having someone that you trust is going to do a great job for your customer because that reflects on you. That very quickly, when we were looking at kind of the blind business, came to the forefront for my mind because I said, well, gosh, we can create value there for our partners, which maybe some do, some don't. I don't know, right? But that for me, and you guys are nodding, so it sounds like that's correct, right? Yeah. But you need an easy button, and that's something that we do have the ability to provide.
Yeah, you need that, and then you need, obviously, like you said, after the sale. Yep. Hey, so and so's blind is binding on this one deal, and you need someone that it's just done, and I mean that's really all you need. Yeah. I mean, I've wanted those power blinds for years. I just haven't ever.
You never found it?
I have never found someone. I haven't never found someone that does it.
Look at this.
That can do it.
We're matchmaking.
We do all sorts of motorized blind, from very basic all the way to a wall mount or something that can actually integrate into your phone as well. So, and then all come with different, obviously, price points.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have all.
But so you'd be like, there's the guy in town that's the budget guy, right? That like they're the lower end, and then you guys are more in a premium end, or it all depends.
So something that's really cool with us, right? So we are locally owned, but we're nationally backed with the franchise, and what that does is it gives us a wide assortment. So we can do everything residential and commercial. We can do motorized. Josh, that's your premium. Shutters, motorization. Right now, you're in the high end.
Okay.
We can also cover down more on the value side, and we actually have our own private, what we call white label, that allows us to compete, on pretty aggressively in pricing.
I mean, wouldn't you say? I mean, 9 out of 10 contractors ask.
Yeah. That's just the normal. It's like you say, you leave them off so then they can feel like they got something.
Well, and I'll share my experience just building our house. It was a line item in the budget, and we weren't. I mean, I remember when we got our first quote back, I was just like, we're not close. I think we budgeted $4,000. The next thing came back at $12,000, and I had a panic attack because I was like, this. Because you're all typically builds go, I don't know, 10.
Well, and by that time you're so far over.
We're very deep.
We were deep. You're like, what? The blinds?
No blinds.
Newspaper.
Newspaper. Throw a sheet over the window.
Yeah. So but you're like, so we were like, I was pretty close.
Tinfoil's expensive.
Just a sheet.
Yeah. So like Matt was mentioning, hey, like those 2-inch faux wood blinds, right? Guess what's in most of our house?
Yeah.
2-inch faux wood.
And I mean, everyone puts them there, and then they hope one day that you can graduate to.
And what a lot of people end up doing, right, is after they move in, live in it a little bit, then they're like, oh, we need to redo everything, and they'll bring in an interior decorator, which then would probably then call you as well, too.
Yeah. So we do work, like, for example, we just did a brand new build, and I think it's technically in Bentonville, but it's near the Highfield area, and it's this really great community going up over there, and that's exactly what happened. Yeah. We have an interior design department that called us and said, hey, you're going to work with me. And then we kind of worked jointly with the homeowner and did some shutters, cool golf roller shades. Yeah. Golf. It was very cool. It was a very fun project.
So Rob and I both want the powered blinds. So what we're thinking is maybe we could spec it into the new gents and put a little extra fluff in there to try to help our deal.
I like that. I like that.
Something to consider.
I like that.
It's funny because, if you look at the front of my house, I would say, like, we designed the front of our house for no blinds, but our upper windows definitely need blinds, and we actually have power there. So
yeah, which is huge. That's actually, and honestly, we have a 2-story Great Lane. Did not put power in the second story.
People forget it.
We forgot. And so now we have to charge those once a year. There's ways around that. We have solar panels you can put behind it, which I didn't know about. And
that's actually really good. That's good.
Like,
good solution.
It was interesting, like, because Josh kind of, when we were going through this, he was like, why are you buying a blinds company? That's fair. It's a fair question, because I think if you even asked me a year ago, like, would you own a blinds company? My answer would have been like, no.
But it's huge.
It is.
Well, and there's so much that you don't realize. Like, you'll be in restaurants now, and as soon as the sun gets down, like, they just automatically
go up.
Well, and it's like your house. You can probably set it on your phone that every day at 3:00, that not the whole blackout, but part of it comes down, and it's like, it's those little things that nowadays they aren't brain damage, to control a lot of stuff with your phones like it was even 2 or 3
But
years
at Bobby's
ago.
house, you don't want to see him in his underwear sitting on the couch having coffee at 7. I want those blinds going up first thing in the morning.
Well, you probably do, Josh, but maybe not.
Maybe not the neighbors when they come out with the golf carts.
Josh,
this isn't Shadow Valley.
That's a good joke. It's a good joke. It's a good joke. It's a good joke. I have no response. I live across the street from him. I can see into his house.
I need blinds for that reason. He lives right across the street from me.
I mean, we should have had you in here right before Valentine's Day, because there is not one of our wives that wouldn't love to have some nice blinds.
Yeah,
I mean, it's huge. It's bigger than I think all of us realize as men.
No, like that's. I mean, when we were taking a step back, I ended up talking to 6 different brands, all very different. But you touched on something exactly where I was like, if I'm going to buy a new brand, it's got to be a need, not a want. That was step one. And then from there, as I started kind of educating myself, and you guys in this home services, it's always a need, not a want, and they tend to be relatively profitable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can for blinds, it's not probably reoccurring, meaning you're going to get the same customer every month, but you can certainly get this, work with the same customer multiple years and then get the same, like, get a referral, right, from that, or they move, right, or, so there's opportunity there as well. But once we started looking at the business model, for me, that's where I was like, and it was hilarious. My wife and I were doing this together. All of the 6 brands we talked to originally started at number 6. We were just like, and we had a franchise coach helping us do this, so that was partially the introduction. And then we met with the brand, and they're owned by a company called Horsepower Brands, and they own 9 different home services brands. This is all they do, which is really cool. So they own, like, I think HVAC. They've got a couple here. They've got one here called Gatsby Glass. Shout out to Jesse. They've got Mighty Dog Roofing. Think of all of those kind of verticals, right?
Yeah.
That's all they do is home services. And for us, once we talked to them, and once I started understanding the home services business, it got exciting. Where it was unique for me, I was like, hey, I'm not passionate about blinds. Like, I'm passionate about business for sure, right? But once
you're going to be now, though.
No, that's where it got really interesting. And Josh knows as well. I mean, I tend to be kind of land on the more creative side. I like kind of all these creative, unique solutions. Holy cow, is there a lot of blinds and a lot of options. And me just, in a very basic level, my wife led it, going through the process for our house, and then me starting to understand all these intricate details that are really vital to bringing your customers home to life. It actually was like, oh wow, son of a gun. All of a sudden, I'm like, I'm enjoying this.
Was it Mel's decision to do the blinds, or yours, or both? And I'll ask her the same question.
You can ask her the same question. I would say we both of us, just on gut feeling, I'm not that interested in blind. Started at 6. We met with Horsepower. It instantly jumped to top 2 with another home services brand, not in blinds, so separate. And through that process, we started really thinking about, do I want phone calls late at night or early in the morning? No, I don't. We have 2 young children. We need a family-friendly business. We started kind of looking at those 2 brands, and blinds kept.
Can you share with us what the other one is?
The other one's called Voda. VODA. It is it's like emergency cleanup. Yeah. So, which is super lucrative business, but you got to get paid from insurance companies. And if you don't pick up at 2 a.m., right, they're calling somebody at 2 a.m. Not good. We have a 1.5-year-old and a 9-year-old, and it just doesn't fit our lifestyle. But awesome company, great business. Love those guys. They were great. So everything kind of pointed us towards blinds, and I don't mind sharing this with Josh. I mean, I finished Discovery Day, and he knew that, and we talked for a good hour and a half in the car. Josh has always been there to pressure check me on major life decisions. This was obviously a big one.
Hey, I don't know enough
That's
about
kind of
blinds.
scary.
Perhaps
It's turned out okay.
through my circle. Perhaps. That's fair. Yeah.
It's turned out okay. But he's been like,
At the end of the day, the blind is only the product, right? It's everything else.
Yeah.
that you could.
Exactly.
You're buying him, really, because
but you guys know the blinds more. Like, again, I didn't know enough about it to be able to say, is it, as I said to him,
I don't know if you really have any big competitors here in town.
We certainly do. We certainly do. There's some great people here that have been doing it. I think, and you kind of mentioned like, all right, what's a differentiating factor, right? Need not want was one, and then I said, hey, we need to be a disruptor if we're going to be buying into a business model. That's where Bumble Bee begins to separate.
All right, so tell us more about Bumble Bee.
Exactly.
Let's get into it.
So there's a couple things we're going to do very different.
Be patient.
And he's there. He's ready. Yeah.
he's looking at the clock. He's in a hurry.
The first
Phone's
thing
not going off.
The first thing we do.
He needs a stress ball.
Stomach scratch.
He needs a stress ball.
That's our first differentiation.
Give him all.
We got
Now, Kyle, just to be clear, Bobby's been traveling. He's been out of town all week. He's got a lot of stress right now.
Yeah.
a lot of stress. Good news. We've got.
I've been up since 4. I flew in this morning from a window plant, believe it or not.
Okay.
Which you want to talk about, like, puts you into reality. You're like, man, we make a lot of windows, and it's just one plant.
It's one plant. Yeah. So we'll do things a little bit different than what I would consider like the normal blinds experience, and that's really our value. So step one, we are always going to laser measure when we come in. We will hand measure, of course, like to double check it, but we're going to get a laser measurement. That's going to completely eliminate human error. Second, that information goes straight to the iPad. So we're not writing stuff down, because you can measure correct and write down wrong and it's still wrong, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not to say it's always perfect if that laser does miss or hit something wrong, but most of the time we're going to catch it, or if we miss it, it's going to be a very, very small mistake. You're trying to avoid those big mistakes, right? The second part, which I can show you, is not only go ahead, Josh.
No, I was going to say, take out that thing.
Yeah,
is that
cool?
Yeah. And so, we'll show it up into the camera right here.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Okay, let me kind of.
So walk them through that, because I thought this was really neat.
It's really cool.
And I love your guys' perspective. You're in the industry.
So the second part,
don't poo-poo it if you don't like it.
Yeah, it's okay. You can poo-poo it. I'm not going to be offended here. And yeah, thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. So the second part we'll do is, if you've got blinds before, you usually are going to have like a couple, like you'll have a couple sample books. Yeah. See?
It's like babysitting for me. I apologize.
Bees, would surprise you. These, you got to buy these at like a couple hundred. Like, yeah.
Right podcast.
Okay. So once we're done laser measuring, that's kind of where you're now designing that like custom solution for the customer, right? So typically you're going to have like a bunch of different design books, and at that point, a good design consultant, which ours is now kind of already zeroing in on what your interests are. But typically, and if you guys are really visual like me, I will struggle on these appointments. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what I'm looking at. I can see a little sample card. I think I know what you're talking about. And that's where we can really like create a point of difference. So this is pretty cool. It's my daughter and our dogs. So that's pretty cool.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Coco, shout out.
Shout out to Coco, right? So what we can do is, and this is pretty neat. Let me see. This is a good spot. So this is actually
that's that window
right outside.
Okay.
So we can come in with our iPad. We're going to snap a live photo of your space. You didn't see me do this, but then I'm going to kind of box this window. So I'm going to get it down like very close to the square edge. And then from here, what we can literally do is show you exactly what it's going to look like in your space by blind. So for example, for here, I think I've got some cellular up right now, which is a personal favorite of mine. But if you're like, man, I love aluminum blinds.
Yes.
Nobody says that.
No,
I say they do. Josh does, right?
It's in my pressure.
I can hit that, change it, and then it gets really neat because we can show you how it's going to open, how it's going to close. That one may not open and close well. It's okay. We'll go to like a cool Roman shade here, right? And that's going to...
Let me hold it.
There it is. There it is.
That's really cool.
Isn't that neat? Right? And if you're like, I hate this color, that's okay, right? We're not going to have all the colors. Mm-hmm. We're going to have enough to get you really close, right? There you go. There's some, that neat. So there's some cool bamboo shades right there. This with the samples just creates a whole different experience for the customer, right? Because at the end of the day, these are all custom window treatments for their specific space. They're all custom ordered.
I love that because, again, you're taking a photo of my window and then you're making it look exactly like I want it to see.
Exactly right.
I don't like that one. Let's flip to another one. Let's flip to another color. I think that's super cool.
And in a custom home, there's a good chance that each window may have a different color or type of blind or
100%
from one room to another.
Yeah. creates, you can truly customize it to whatever you want.
And then are you able to like save each window into a file and then send it to the customer?
So how we quote is every single window. Yeah, and that's just best practice within the industry for that exact reason.
But you could email it off to them or build
like this.
So what we do is once we finish with this and we align on everything they want, you're going to get a down, and this is not industry standard, but this is something we do. You're going to get a down to the penny quote on the spot. You're not going to wait a week. You're not going to wait 2 weeks. You're not going to wonder, if there's this guy.
You want to close the deal right there and then.
We have the ability, if you want, right then and there to close the deal. On top of all of that, if it's not enough, we do a couple other things. One, we warranty back everything we do. It's going to depend on the product, of course, but we have excellent warranties. And on top of that,
what's your minimum warranty? Would you say?
Depends on the product. Yeah, completely. Yeah. I mean,
not to put you on the spot, but
that's putting a spot, but he's putting on the spot.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you our best one, which is a little more exciting. So we work with a company called Elegant, which does our white label. And say you do shutters with them, which are a great shutter supplier. You can actually wreck the shutters once, twice. Say you have a dog that runs through them, and they will fix them, no questions asked. No other shutter company out there is going to do that. You're going to get maybe year, 2-year warranty, fading, cracking, all of those kind of things. But that's a great one that not necessarily anybody else in the marketplace can offer. Plus the cost of that shutter, which these guys will know you won't. Shutters are quite expensive.
I do that.
They add value to your home, which is great.
Yeah, Emily actually ordered a whole set.
I meant to tell you that.
Do you want to see it? Actually, we have it on we can play it. We can play it for you here.
It feels too expensive.
Do you do blackouts as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sheer all the way to blackout. The one thing I will say I don't like using the term blackout, and here's why. There's 2 ways to do it. It's typically a roller, or it's going to be cellular. Cellular is going to both. The best way to do it is going to be inside the window frame. Here's the thing: you can't perfectly cover the tracks. The only way you can really get full blackout
is a lot darker than what I have now.
Correct. Yeah. So there's always, and we always tell people that
when the sun comes up.
But if you think about it, and I'll share this because we had this happen to us. We wanted a blackout roller. We got one, and then we realized as soon as it was down with our, at that point 6-month-old trying to sleep. It's not a blackout because the corners, the light are set under. So we had to go get drapes and cover it. So we do drapery as well to cover that whole thing. But I always like to say that to customers because I wasn't told that. I wasn't informed of that in the sales process.
We had it at a movie room, but it had channels on the side. So it did play. But you had to have a channel.
Yeah.
So you do drapery as well, or only for a certain situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do blind, shade, shutters, drapery, and we also do exterior screens.
A lot of people have drapes.
You do exterior screens?
We do exterior screens.
Oh, whoa.
Yep.
So you screen in some outdoor patios?
So we can do, yes, effectively. It's not, now we don't do, or our specialty isn't like the full-time static, right? But we have track systems. So our biggest partner is Universal Screens, which is really like kind of best in class in the industry. If, for example, you're building a house and we're there with you, we can put those tracks into the build. So when that screen comes down, it's seamless. If it's post-build, drill, you're going to have tracks on the side, but those tracks can come straight down.
But that's a huge, it's cool. That's big for our area.
Yes.
We've seen a ton of people wanting
so you do retractable outdoor screens, not static.
Correct. Retractable outdoor screens, not static.
Which is nice because then I don't know if you guys do where you can also do like a it's like a clear plastic for in the winter and the screen?
That is a good question. I don't think so, but I am going to look into that.
Yeah, some of them have where you can do one, and then in the winter you can pull it to where it's like more of a solid.
Kind of like the potatoes.
Yeah.
But I'll throw a cool curveball at you.
There's some.
So Universal, if say you have maybe you have a pillar that's not perfectly managed and you've got a little space, they can build a permanent structure that then holds the track system. And that could be like a screen door. So that's something actually we're doing potentially for a friend of ours, locally. So there's kind of a will, there's a way, and that's really cool. That's probably one of my favorite jobs. We just had a really big screen appointment, a little outside the area.
I wish you did static too, because there's so many requests come in for static as well. You talk to your corporate office.
Good business opportunity.
Yeah. If you're doing the up and down,
So what does static mean? What does that
just doesn't.
I mean, you can make them static. You just put them in and don't hook up the electric.
Exactly.
There's a workaround.
Technically, if you just keep them down.
Be like, those are static now. If you touch that switch, they're not anymore.
The other thing you say is like if the wind really picks up,
That would be in Matt's budget friendly. Lots of
Thrifty.
yeah.
Thrifty. So how long have you been open? Just a few months, right?
Yeah, so we formed the company mid last year, and then we launched January 2025.
And business has been good. The communities.
Business has been very good. We've been very well supported, which we feel great about. And then a lot of, I would just say the work my wife and I have put in to build the right plan, for the community is paying off as well.
So do you have retail or like what's the business model look like?
All appointments are going to be in home. So we do have a warehouse with a small office, and that's where our general manager works, and we receive all of our deliveries.
Stuff, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Which makes sense. And then, our sales guy, and we had a cool car. We call it the Humble Bee.
Oh,
Boom. Yeah.
We got here's another Humvee.
That's your Hummer?
No, it's a Kia Carnival.
it's the Bumble Bee.
I was like, I might have one for you 75 if you want.
It's a Kia.
It's a Kia. Yeah. But it's this cool yellow van.
You can call them a KIA. It sounds more expensive.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
KIA.
No, I think that's a great business because it's hard to find. It's hard to find people.
Well, who have you been using for blinds? Like, it's literally an afterthought for you guys, right?
Yeah, we have a few people that we use, but like I say, we're always looking for others, and like the people that I use for blinds, they prefer just to do the quick, inexpensive in and out, and it's nice to have more options to where.
Well, for some of the custom homes that you're building, I mean, like that technology, I think is super cool.
Yeah. I mean,
imagine how impressed the owner of the home's going to be when you're like, they're going through all this stuff and you're taking the time to take a photo of their window, and I don't like that, I like this. So cool. Yeah, that's really
neat. It's a big deal, and it's like I say, we've tried on our house a few times because we would like some nice blinds in our bedroom, especially because our bedroom faces to the east. So we get the sunrise every night.
Early anyway, though.
Well, I am, but Carrie would like it worse.
Hey, that's the one you want because Carrie's definitely the decision maker.
Yeah. That's a question we ask, by the way. Nicely.
But you also want to make sure that Carrie is seeing the bill, not Matt, because Matt sees the bill, it'll be thrifty.
Yes. But I mean, I don't think a lot of people have visibility to what the options and availability is in your market. Like we're all uneducated. We're uneducated and we do it every day. Yeah. It's like you go to like these home builder shows and you're like, man, I didn't even know we could do, get these kinds of things.
Well, stuff's changing constantly. I mean, that's why we gotta go to the home builder shows.
Yeah.
Right. And have fun too.
Exactly. Of course. Yeah.
Well, you guys are in Vegas because it's like, but you guys don't pay attention. You're so hungover. You don't see what all the
is. Well, we save that stuff for after the show. With my new lifestyle, I don't drink as much anymore.
Wow. I haven't seen that.
Sorry. Awkward silence there. Just keep it moving, I guess.
Yeah. Back to you, Kyle.
So, how about those estimates that you've been doing?
Yes. Let's get back to the blinds, Kyle. As he's chugging the rest of the bourbon, was that another port?
Yeah, it was a small pour, Josh. It was small.
Here you go, Bobby. I mean, for those that don't drink as long.
So, what is the like if someone calls you out? Mm-hmm. What's the normal? Like you can usually get there within a few days, and then what's the turnaround time? I know we have a lot of people that, well, especially I have a lot of. We were actually just at our friends at Florida, and they were like they had ordered blinds 2 months ago, and they came in and they were wrong. Yeah. Which, like you said, is nice that you guys it all goes into the computer.
Exactly.
You do it. But what is the standard turnaround time for blinds?
Yeah. So to answer your first question, if you call, text, put it in the warrant, we can get with you as soon as possible, as long as no one's booked ahead of you. Yeah. That's the only caveat. But yeah, there's 100%.
Can you bump Bobby up to the top of the list though, if need be?
For you.
And then you actually go right to their house, right to where you can show them everything.
100%. Yeah. So it's a deeply personal experience. And we respect that. And I think it's, and that for me, I know is at least a fun part of the process.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy that part of it. So, and then from a lead time perspective, I hate answering like this, but it does depend.
Yeah.
We tend to give anywhere between 3, max 6 weeks lead time. And that's just between order, shipping, and then install. Everything we do is going to...
So within 6 weeks, it's installed as well?
Ideally, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So the caveat would be if it's coming from overseas or something like that. But we're going to be communicating that. Like we'll know really fast.
Because you have a lot of different options, right?
Correct.
So
yeah. So like a lot of like the faux wood or rollers, they tend to ship pretty quick. Like if I tell you 3 weeks, typically I could beat it. Sometimes it might just be coordinating install.
And you're not holding any inventory in your warehouse. Everything's on order.
No. Yeah. Everything's
no
custom
overhead for you.
No, well, I have definitely have overhead. But Josh, you're in business, right? Yeah.
No inventory.
No inventory.
Okay.
Yeah. So the inventory ideally would come in, and we're working with our installer team to get those out as quick as possible. And obviously the customer wants it, right? Like if you order something cool, you want.
And I think that's neat to hear. So, if you wanted the electric option, which I think everyone wants that.
Yeah.
It comes down to, do we want to allocate the money to that?
Yep.
But there is an option if they don't have power. And there's a solar option, I guess, if they're...
Yeah.
So, I mean, all of those things, I didn't know that there was solar. I didn't know that it would last a year, the battery.
Yeah, so I'll give you
huge.
Like a direct example would be, say you've got a skylight. So now you're probably 12, 14 feet up, maybe higher, maybe it's 2 stories, right? Are you going to get a 2-story ladder to get up there and charge it once a year?
That was going to be my next question.
Right.
Do you offer like a service thing where you'll come back out?
We can. Like I would tell the customer, do you want to see me once a year for a service fee and a charge? Or do you want me to just install solar right into the track system and you're not going to see it and it's just going to self-charge itself?
Answer B.
Yeah.
Right?
Typically B.
Nobody takes A, right?
Yeah.
Some people do. I wouldn't.
They must like you. They want to see you.
Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah. That Emily ordered like that. Strangely.
Yeah.
Funny how that works. Yeah.
I knew it.
Shout out to Emily.
Shout out to Emily. Yeah, you're the best. Does she listen?
Only the parts that I make her listen to. She won't listen to this part.
She doesn't.
Until she falls asleep.
Yeah.
Shout out to Emily.
Shout out to Emily.
But no, that's like, I think everyone knowing that, because I think a lot of people that, for my house too, I don't have power, but we can obviously.
Feels like you're going to start working with Kyle. It feels like
I'm going to talk to him, but we can, you can add it, and you can add it. It's not a big deal. But if it's not that big of a deal to have solar, then it's easier.
Yeah, and
but for your average customer, right? For them to go find an electrician, come get power, they're going to get their heads sick.
And we like, so we do that. We have preferred partners that are like, hey, because sometimes when you install, maybe you want to change the paint. We have people we work with that'll do that. We have a preferred electrician, so we try to offer a full value. We even have someone that fixes blinds. We don't fix blinds, but I got a partner in town that does do that. So if something goes sideways, right outside of us, or we just need some help. I had a customer call and say, I don't need new blinds, I need to fix it. And we passed them off to them.
Right. It's like good business.
Yeah.
Wait, so they called you, they didn't want to replace the blinds, said, hey, my blinds aren't working.
They're just not working.
And so that'll be a little back and forth.
And I got a partner in town that's great. They actually are helping us fix blinds.
Right. And sometimes there might not be fixable, and then they bounce them back to you.
Exactly. But, we, to your point, we try to have we try to bring value in, different ways and also be good community partners.
That's awesome. How are you guys, small kids, you and your wife both have big time jobs, both do very well. Like, how are you balancing doing all this stuff?
Great question.
That's why I asked it.
Yeah, as well as we can. It's a daily practice, I think, in love, grace, and discipline. That's really what it is. You guys don't know this, but Josh knows this. I've been with my wife since I was 18.
Lovely lady. Shout out to Mel.
Shout out to Mel. She's the best. Yeah.
She is good.
And we got married at 24, so we've been together, 16 plus years.
But both type A, like you guys.
Type A. Very type A.
Both of you.
Yeah, she works for a large financial firm.
We will not shout them out.
Yeah, no shout out. A shout out, kind of.
Yeah.
Let's pay the bills. Appreciate you. No, and they've been very good to her. And then, as Josh mentioned, I've been in the consumer product space with a bunch of different brands, which has been fun.
But this adds a lot more complexity to your life.
It's a lot. Yeah, I mean
so you all are still both working full time plus this.
Yeah, so we're executive owners, which was the plan. So that was very much the plan. So we have a full-time general manager that handles all the day-to-day for us. Shout out to Ryan,
salaried position,
full-time salary, and we take care of him in other ways too. Shout out to Ryan, you're amazing.
Shout out,
shout out Ryan. He's incredible. And then we have a full-time design consultant, Matt, who does all of the selling.
Matt,
Matt. Yeah,
Man, I'm moonlighting.
Yeah, baby.
That's
We've been meaning to talk to you.
Yeah, I got to leave here.
Yeah,
10 minutes. An appointment. I need the iPad.
Yeah. Exactly.
you don't know how to turn it on.
Don't give the house away this time. I told you. I hit margins. Yeah. But no, it's I think it's been candidly at times tough, right? And you own and run a business with your wife as well.
We all do.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So it's I think it's been challenging at times on the marriage and relationship, but from that has come a lot of positive things. And the reality is we just have really disciplined days. We tend to be up pretty early, and we can take care of stuff then. From our working hours, we are fully dedicated to our careers because we love what we do. So that's a blessing there. From 5-ish to 8, that's kid time. That's family time. That's sacred for us. We really try to put our phones away, spend the time with the children. We don't want to miss out on anything. We don't want to work ourselves, just to miss out on all of the great things, right? You got to get a 9 and a 1.5-year-old. So we try to be very family focused.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you got some youngins.
We got some youngins. Yeah.
So I'm listening to the hours.
Yeah.
Like you're working 5 to 7:30, and then you're not really able to get too much of it unless it's kind of in free time.
It's really free time. Yeah, weekends, nights, mornings. I would probably say mainly early mornings, weekends, and if we have the energy at night. But I'm big on if you're just completely burnt out, how effective are you going to be?
Well, I know you also well enough, and we've joked about this a few times because we had like Bill and Sheila on from Ozark Mountain. Like we've had
the Bill. Look, Bill.
We have great, but like you're laying in bed with Mel, right? And you're like, hey, like let's snuggle. And she's like, can you believe what happened with the blinds today? And it's like, all right, well, we're not going to be intimate with one another this evening.
That may have been me last night.
Yes, and it's like it just never ends. It's there all the time. It's hard.
It is. It's also what I would say is it's our dream. Right. And I think in the hard moments, knowing we chose this is what we want to do. We're having fun and it's hard and both can be true. And they are. Right. But I wouldn't change it for a second. I really wouldn't. It's been a really life-changing year, for me and then for us doing it together, for our family.
But you got a 1.5-year-old.
We do. Yeah, and he's awesome.
It's like buying the franchises.
Yeah, I a year ago, if you would have told me, we do all of this and we're doing it, I think as well as we can with the new baby,
new baby, newer dog, new job, right? I mean, new house.
But it sounds like you hired some amazing people as well too.
Yeah, we did. We were really big focus there, and you guys all know this, right? Like you can't do it without your people, and we're big on creating great processes and great systems. So our people can just free up and do their thing, and that's what they do. And then sometimes you get lucky, and we got lucky with 2 great guys.
So I got a quick question. So when you went to Bumble Bee Blinds and you told Northwest Arkansas, I'm sure they helped you with the market research.
Absolutely.
What was their feedback about the market?
Yeah. So it's a very, very hot market, and we knew that going in. And then to your point, it's dimensionalized with a lot of the data that they can provide on consumers. But at the end of the day, we've got more people moving here than we can probably build houses or apartment complexes to cover. And that's not going to slow down, right? You got Walmart headquarters, Tyson headquarters, JB Hunt headquarters, right? Obviously, you've got the university. None of these things, healthcare system.
I forgot all the apartments. Every apartments need blinds too.
Apartments need blinds.
Apartments are popping up.
Businesses need blinds. Commercial's been really big for us. Yeah. Shout out to Salt Health, our first customer.
George. Yeah. Jordan's a man. Love Jordan.
Oh, this is a friend of mine.
Another Jen's Place member. George. Good people.
First customer. You guys
had them on podcast.
No, we have Salt Health. Great business. We love Jordan.
Yeah. Love. Maybe you guys did this, but Jordan was really cool. Love you, Jordan. And paid us in full, which he didn't have to do. and gave us a check, which was great because we could frame it. And that was for us.
We did a gents event over there with George. I mean, class act, great organization, good people.
Yeah, we do some men's groups together pretty consistently, and then we play fantasy football together. Stuff here, Jordan. Sorry, bud.
Bobby, it's time for your question. What discount for the
So
because Kyle's been ready for your question.
Yeah, 100%.
So if someone calls you up and say, hey, we serve Bobby on the B Team podcast.
100%.
100% discount?
No.
Oh,
I was ready to sign up.
I'm 100% ready to answer the question. Do not cut the podcast in 100%. I do. I signed away. Yeah.
Well, we'll start over because they'll phrase that. But all our viewers, right?
Yeah.
They're tuning in to watch me. Obviously.
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Right, but they're
Emily, and the haircut lady.
Some blinds. Yeah.
Yeah, if they mention the BTN podcast,
100% discount.
What?
If they mention the BT podcast, all the way, let's take it all the way through April, end of April this year. Okay. All right. So long. You got a long time.
That's pretty solid.
Right.
Through April.
All the way through April, 10% off. All they have to do is say, man, I heard it on the BT podcast.
Can we also get an autographed B signed by Bobby?
Yes.
We signed the
yes.
B?
I will sign it.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
The 10%, that's off any product or?
10% off any product.
Any product.
Any product. Yeah.
So if you're right here at the BT podcast, 10% off any product.
Any off.
If I could suggest, if you're interested in shutters and exterior screens.
He's going high. There he goes.
It's a good opportunity.
Well done, my friend.
Just one clarifying question.
Yeah.
Can a Matt and I use that discount?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. You can 100% use that discount.
Oh, I see what you did there.
10%.
I love that.
Well, I mean, and I think this too. Like people seeing and feeling, and like when you get it at houses is when, like the nicer stuff, like that's when you can see the value versus showing them.
Yeah.
100%.
So that's why, Robin, I thought, if you could give us a deal, we could put some of that nice.
Oh, so I see what you're saying. You want a freebie, so when people come into your house, which by the way, I've never been invited, then it's like, okay, look what I did.
A showroom.
We'll let you photograph it and put it on your website.
Yeah.
Showroom at the Casa de Mars. Kyle, how do people find you? Website, Instagram, Facebook? What's the website?
All of it, yeah. So, Bumble Bee Blinds of Northwest Arkansas. You can go right to the website. You can fill out a form to contact us. You can text us through the website. If you want to do it through Meta, that's fine. We've got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of those great things. And if you truly want to call us locally, we got a local number as well, 479-512-BUZZ. Yep.
I see what you did there.
I love that you have a local number too. I'm old, and I don't like having to call like the national.
No.
So.
I hear you.
Well, thank you. Congrats.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
Very cool.
Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, thank you.
Well done.
Thank
Proud
you.
of you.